What's up YouTube, Matt with Matt Builds coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be changing the lockout on my Liberty safe. We're going to be going from an electronic keypad to a dial type lock. We're going to be using the S&G 6730 lock body, spy proof key locking dial, and an S&G dial ring. I wanted the dial type combination over the electronic, but I got a good deal on this safe, so we're just going to be switching it over. So I'm going to get y'all up on the tripod and we'll get it started. Alright you guys, the first thing we want to do is we got the secondary bolt. We're going to pull it up and just kind of set it up on this edge right here, just to keep it from falling back in. And then we're going to take this cover plate off with these two screws, and then we'll move on to the lock body. Okay, to remove the keypad, take this outside trim piece, remove it, just as if you're changing your battery. Take your battery out, then lift up, and it's off. Now before I move back to the inside of the door, I am going to take these two screws off, because when we put the dial cover plate back on, the new one, we won't be using these screws. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out, and then we'll move to the inside. So now we're going to install the lock body. This is going to be a vertical down, meaning it's vertical, and the bolt is going to be going down. It can also be a vertical up, so the bolt goes up, a left hand or a right hand. This one is a vertical down, so we're going to be installing the lock body just like that. Now I am also installing a little bit of Loctite on those bolts, just to keep anything from coming back off. Notice I kind of went in a cross pattern to install them, and then once I got them all snugged, I went back across and make sure all four of them were tightened down good. Alright, now that all the bolts are in, we're going to pull the drive cam out. Okay, we're back on the outside. We're going to put the dial ring on. Now, I don't have a dial ring alignment tool. I'm not spending $100 on a tool that I'm going to use once. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, you do want to make sure that you put this little Delrin type I guess bushing, and it goes right in from the back. Let's see. There we go, and that'll keep it flush, and that's what your dial ring is going to kind of ride in. Alright, so you guys, I want to show kind of how I line it up, so you can see that I just kind of lined it up with the hole in the door, and we'll make any other adjustments if we need to once we get the dial in there. Alright, we're back on the inside. Now we have to address this. So the shaft is made over length, so you know, to fit and accommodate different thickness of doors. So now that we've got it through there, we're just going to make sure that's snugged really good. Now we're going to take us a marker and just kind of mark that shaft around, so we know, sorry about that, so that we know where to cut it. So now we're going to take everything back apart, cut this shaft down, and I'll be back. Alright, so we have the dial back out. I have threaded the cam back on, and I've came past the mark right here, so this is where I'm going to be cutting it. So I'm going to cut it off, and I mean, you can use a hacksaw or a Dremel tool or a cutoff wheel, anything like that to cut it off. But once you've cut it off, kind of take a file and bevel that edge, and then we'll unscrew this and screw this back off, and that'll just kind of clean up any other threads that's left on there. So I'll do that and we'll be back. All right, we got it cut off here. So we're just going to take that cam back off, and that'll kind of clean up any other threads that might have been boogered up that the file didn't get to. Now I want to show this up close here. Excuse the little Sharpie marks that I put on it. But you can see, as I said in the beginning, you have vertical up, vertical down, left hand, and right hand. Now when we go to put this cam and everything back into place and we start actually setting it, that's when this is really going to make a difference. But now we're just going to reinsert the dial. Screw the cam back on. Now you're going to need to hold this lock over to the side. Alright, and she is back in. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of snug it like we did again before. And then we're going to line up so you have a slot in the shaft that's running through. And then where each one of these vertical up, vertical down, left and right hand, there's an actual slot in that cam also. So we're going to line those back up. So what you do is you snug it up. So mine's a vertical down, so I'm going to turn that back until it lines up with that slot in the cam. Alright, now that's lined up. So we want to take and check the dial on the outside, just make sure that everything's moving freely, nothing's touching the ring. And as you can see, I got this little keyway lined up, and it is lined up with the vertical down position. Alright, so once you get the dial on there, you just want to kind of spin it and listen to see if you hear anything touching. I actually got this one lined up pretty good. Nothing's touching there. If you do have any spots touching, you can take like a rubber mallet and make sure you tap on the ring on the outside. You don't want to be hitting on this dial because you can bend that shaft that's running through there. So if you do need to move it, just kind of tap it around like that till you get that dial to where it doesn't touch that ring. And again, this has got the spy ring on it, so you have a little more to worry about that. But there you go, no $100 tool needed. So now we're going to take a hammer and make sure that's seated. And now you'll see where this little arm that's bent over kind of touches that cam. And now everything is installed, so we are ready to move on to setting the lock. Alright, so we're about to set the lock up so that we can set the combination. So you're going to take these wheels in here, you want to line them up. Now you can see that all three wheels are lined up. Once you do that, you want to make sure you rotate all three. You're going to rotate all three of them around until they hook right there. So now that all three are hooked right there, lined up with that little hog nose, now we're ready to put the cover back on and move into setting the combination. Alright, so I've already set my combination on this one. I'm just going to kind of show some of the steps. There are some other videos on setting the combinations. But basically, you're going to get this change key. And you're going to insert it in the back here. Now, you'll see it has a little flag right here. You're going to want to make sure that flag goes all the way inside the lock body. And once it does, you're going to want to turn it counterclockwise. And you'll feel some resistance and you'll feel it kind of click. And that's going to let you know you are ready to set your combination. Alright, so I've already set mine, but I just want to kind of go over the process with you guys. So this is the notch that you're going to be using to actually put it in your combination when you're unlocking it. This mark right here is the one that is going to that you're going to use to set your combination. So basically, when you're setting the lock or setting the combination, you can start anywhere, it doesn't matter. What you're going to want to do is pick a series of 3 numbers that you're going to want to use. And again, there's some other videos and some things that, for instance, you don't want to set your third number to anything between like 90 and 20. Certain things like that could potentially lock up the lock. But just kind of set up, you know, a good 3-letter combination, 10, 80, 27, you know, something like that. Something that's just kind of from one end of the spectrum back and forth. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start turning your dial counterclockwise 4 times, at least 4 times. Now, if you say you're going to set it at, say, 90 is going to be your first number. If you on that first go around, if you're on the 4th turn and you get to 90 and you go just a little bit past it on accident, you can continue on around one more time and stop on 90. However, on the next 2 numbers, if you go past it or mess up, you have to start all the way over again setting the combination. So you're going to want to go at least 4 times counterclockwise, stop on the first number using this mark. Then you're going to want to go back clockwise to the next number, and you're going to want to stop it on the 3rd time that you pass it. So just for instance, say, I wouldn't use this, but say that 10 is going to be the next one. You're going to want to go around clockwise 3 times, counting the first time you pass it. On the 3rd time, stop. Then go back counterclockwise 2 times and stop it on the last number that you want to use, using this mark for all 3 of them. Once you're done that, then you can go back to the inside of the safe, turn your changing key back clockwise and pull it out, and now your safe has the combination set up and you're ready to use it. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'm gonna kind of insert a little bit of a picture here, kind of showing the instructions, and you guys feel free to kind of, let's see if I can get it in the frame here. There we go. Feel free to kind of pause and read that, check that out. That's the way that you actually set up the combination, or how you go about doing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this gets some good positive feedback, and we'll see y'all in the next one. One other thing before I end this, I didn't show it. So this plate right here, basically the screws that hold this back plate on the lock body, just take those 2 screws out, put these screws back in, and then you're able to release that bolt back down on top of it. But just wanted to throw that in there before I end it.